Tom McGinnis, the voice of the Sixers. You'll hear him tonight at 8 o'clock here on 97.3 ESPN. And in just a moment, Tom's going to tell you a little bit more about our promotion that will start on Monday morning during Mike and Mike. You'll hear the Sixers keyword of the day at 6:25, 7:25, 8:25, and 9:25. Then twice a day on the Sports Bash, you'll be listening for Tom's cue to call. And when you hear him, be the 10th caller. Each qualifier will win a pair of tickets, and you're registered for a chance at the Sixers Experience, which we'll discuss a little bit more right now with the voice of the 76ers here on 97.3 ESPN and the Sixers Radio Network. Tom McGinnis live in Milwaukee, one of the more underrated American cities. Very Art Deco out there in Milwaukee. Who knew, Tom? How are you, pal?
And Mike, just like Tilton Road, sunny Milwaukee. Very nice here today. Yeah.
It is beautiful here. It is a very nice day out here. And Milwaukee is one of the underrated Midwest towns out there. I've really enjoyed my couple times in Milwaukee.
No, without question. It's as you say, it's underrated. It's right on the lake. I mean, Chicago has done the most magnificent job. They call it the Mag Mile in terms of taking advantage of Lake Michigan. But Milwaukee's got an art museum there, and it's a place where, like, when players were here back in the day, they all tried to go to Chicago as much as possible because they felt like there wasn't a lot to do. But I think if you lived here, you would really, obviously a very manageable city, and you got the Brewers and the Packers up the road. They have minor league hockey. A lot of arts, as you say. That museum is a great museum, and a very nice architectural city, like you say. Very small Midwestern city as far as, the big metropolises go. But I would agree. It's a little bit under the radar.
Well, Tom, obviously the Sixers in Milwaukee tonight, but before we talk a little bit about the team starting Monday morning, the listeners are going to get a chance for a Sixers Experience, which you're going to be a part of on the 18th of December. The Sixers will host the Knicks at the Wells Fargo Center, and one lucky listener is going to get the opportunity to sit with you as you do the game for a quarter, and they're going to get to go down in the court before the game and take pictures and have a great Sixers Experience.
It'll be a lot of fun, and we treat the listener, the winner, if you will, like a special guest. They get to don the headset. We provide them with a swag bag, if you will, with the notes for the game and a bunch of other Sixers stuff. And, I say their names on the radio. We talk a good bit during the course of the broadcast, kind of get to see the sausage being made, so to speak. Speaking of Milwaukee, Mike, that's a big product up here. And it's a lot of fun, really. I mean, it's something I think maybe if you watch, you're like, wow, a lot more goes into that than I would have ever thought. And, of course, where we sit, we're right by the Comcast Sportsnet crew, so you would certainly get a bird's eye view of their setup as well with Mark and Al-Donabi. But it's a lot of fun, and to be able to go down on the court and be a part of the game, if you will, prior, I think it's going to be a great experience for whomever gets to win.
Yeah, so Monday morning, listen for the Sixers keyword, and you'll have a chance to win. Everybody who qualifies gets a pair of tickets to a game, and then one lucky listener will get to sit with Tom for a quarter and go down on the court. That's going to be awesome for the New York Knicks game on the 18th of December. It's a Friday night, so empty your calendars, and the winning starts on Monday, Tom. The winning hasn't started quite yet for the 76ers, which is somewhat to be expected, but the first three games of the year, a couple tough opponents, Cleveland obviously Monday night, and Boston very good, Utah Friday night. What has the first three games kind of taught you so far about this young team?
Well, I mean, I thought the Utah game was really tough in terms of it just took the Sixers out of everything, but I thought the Sixers bounced really back well in the game against Cleveland. I mean, that was really exciting, that 15-point lead. To me, it smacked very familiar of Michael Carter-Williams' first game with the Sixers. You'll remember LeBron was with Miami. They were coming off a tough back-to-back. It was a Sixers opener, and I'll be darned if the Sixers didn't beat them. But in this particular game on Monday night, LeBron came out with a brand-new laser focus in the third quarter, was top-notch. That brought up the rest of their team, and they kind of finished the second quarter run. They finished that off in the third, and that became the difference. They were overmatched in that game. There's no question about it. The Utah, it turned out to be the same. Boston was a difficult opener. And it's a young team. They're still the youngest in the NBA, and I think that's part of it. And it's going to be a struggle. This will be a a difficult game. Milwaukee's defense is very good. They're long, they're athletic with Antetokounmpo and the way they guard. It's going to be difficult for our offense to be able to get some good shots. One of the intriguing sidebars is, although, as you say, we don't know the status of Michael Carter-Williams, but Jabari Parker is making his season debut. He went out with a knee injury last December, had surgery in early January, and the Chicago native, who was the number 2 pick 2 drafts ago, is playing for the first time. They say he's been playing great practice. He and Okafor have a rapport going back to their days in Chicago. They were over in the summer together at Duke. So it'll be interesting to see him. It'll be interesting to watch him play tonight as they move him back into the fold.
Yeah, and obviously Monday night you have to see LeBron, 25,000 points, youngest ever to do it. Great atmosphere. I was there in the building. Really cool to see that happen. Over the years, I'm sure you've had a couple opportunities to hit some milestones, but just getting a chance to see LeBron and 25,000 and being a part of that night.
Mike, I'm sure you shared with your listeners. I no doubt mentioned it during the course of the radio broadcast, but Philadelphia fans get a bum rap at times, and sometimes deservedly so. And I don't mean just Sixers fans, but across the board. But I thought that was as classy a move, and that is when the game started and James was introduced, they booed him lustily. He's the enemy. He's the opposing star. It was, there 20% of the people maybe clap because they came because he's the best player in the game. But that's the way it goes. And then when that occurred in the third quarter with just over 6 minutes to go, and he went over the 25,000-point mark, he was out. They put it on the Jumbotron scoreboard in terms of the words. Matt Cord, the PA announcer, mentioned it, and the crowd gave him a huge ovation. He raised his arm and acknowledged it, and then it turned into a standing ovation. And LeBron raised his hand, basically took a bow out at center court, and afterwards said it was really special. He acknowledged the fans, saying they were going to be Sixers fans to the death, but really special moment. I thought that was cool. To me, those are some of the things that make our sport great. To be a fan, to be part of it is pretty cool. And, and you were there. Do you get the same sense?
It was. I'll tell you, you're right. They were booing him when he left the game in the second quarter, and then he came back in the game. They really let him have it. But once he made the basket, you do see that the realism comes out and that they were there for a special moment. And at first, it was funny because the Sixers were kind enough. They got me some tickets for the game, and then a friend of ours with Comcast also left us tickets. So I have 2 different stubs for the game, and I said, wow, I got 2 different stubs for his 25,000th win, and it was a really cool moment that I thought LeBron really played up as well. He gets some people love him, some people hate him, but I thought he was very good in the moment, and I know you've probably got a chance to do some other cool moments as well that probably ranks right up there, because I don't know where he ranks for you, Tom. Of all the great players you've seen coming in that building, and Jordan and Kobe, where do you put LeBron as in terms of doing the play-by-play and calling his action?
Well, he's certainly up there. When I first started, everybody's favorite player amongst the players, they always say, who'd you idolize growing up? And it was Julius Erving, then it was Michael, then it was Kobe, and now it's LeBron. And, this is such a difficult question. Without question, he's one of the top 10 players ever. And I think he's matured a great deal. The comments he made about the Sixers process in the morning, saying all fans are looking for instant oatmeal when it takes a while, I thought that showed a lot of maturity. And I know we really like that comment. I think maybe as an organization, but he's matured a great deal. And, he's made one mistake, and it was how he handled the decision. And that was more of a public relations snafu than anything. In the end, that's not that bad. He has been a great ambassador for the NBA. His skill level is off the charts. But as I sit here in Milwaukee and I watched that documentary last night on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I mean, he is, to me, one of the greatest players ever. Alcindor, when he was here, before Michael, I didn't get to see the whole breadth of Wilt Chamberlain's career. I did see him at the end, but primarily when he was with the Lakers, and that was toward the latter portion of his career. But clearly, he's one of those best 10 players. Michael saw all of his career. He had a lot of those milestones that you speak of in terms of points in Philadelphia, 15,000, 20,000. He played his last ever game in Philadelphia. And you're right, you do get a chance to see some of these milestones throughout the course of the years. But James is up there. Now, the rest of the story has to be written. He's got 2 belts, 2 championships under his belt. What will happen, from here on out? Regardless how he closes the deal, because remember now, he lost too. He lost to Dallas, he lost to the Spurs, and he lost. So it's hard to say, but he's without question a tremendous talent. He sees the floor. He's a willing and capable passer. He can score, and he's only gotten better. And he's 30 years old. That therein lies the thing with the youngest. But he is, without question, when he comes, you definitely, there's an electricity in the building, and you're watching the best in the world.
No doubt about it. Tom McGinnis tonight, 8 o'clock, the coverage starts, Sixers and the Bucks. I'll ask you, Tom, just 3 games in, obviously, but are you surprised, pleasantly surprised, about what you expected from Jahlil Okafor so far?
I would say pleasantly, just because in the preseason, he only played about 20 minutes. He averaged 12. He struggled at times. He was brilliant. But, boy, in that Boston game, he put his foot on the gas pedal, and whoa, all right, this is great. Struggled against Utah, and I thought showed flashes again. I tell you, Mike, I think, years from now, people are going to say that he, quote-unquote, fell to the Sixers at 3. I think they're going to be amazed by that. I think this guy has a chance to be very good. He's got an innate package offensively. He's got a lot to learn. And especially with the way guys guard him and the size and the athleticism in this league. But I think he's going to be really good. I do. I think he's going to be a huge part of what the Sixers have going forward. And then lastly, to circle back to our contest, obviously both people, you get tickets, if it's a young guy or whatever it is, somebody's friend, both people will come up and be able to sit with us and be able to, the guy will put the headset on, but just so somebody doesn't think, well, how am I going to do this with my 14-year-old kid? When obviously everybody's going to be accommodated, and it'll be a fun experience going back to that Sixers-Knicks broadcast and your contest for December.
Well, that's really cool. And, obviously, Jahlil, a big part of it, as you mentioned. We'll get a chance to see him tonight, Nerlens. And the last thing I'll ask you is, over the last week or so, Scott O'Neal had said that Joel Embiid was ahead of schedule. Obviously, people get excited when they hear that. Have you seen him walking around? Does he seem like he's in good spirits?
He does. He recently got his cast off, and he's on crutches. So hopefully, I'm sure Scott's right on point, but it's still going to be a long time. I just hope that he can completely heal up and be a part of this. It sounds like I'm saying the exact same thing, but I think he can be an unbelievably special player. We've seen glimpses of it, but it's going to be a long time in terms of the healing, and there's reason to be excited, but of course we have to wait until he gets completely healed and until he gets an opportunity to get out there. But they've got some really talented young players, and now they just need to add to the mix. They keep getting better and better under Brett Brown. But it's going to be a long year of development with this young team and a huge offseason coming up once again.
He's Tom McGinnis. You'll hear him again tonight at 8 o'clock. The Sixers and the Bucks here on 97.3 ESPN, your home for the Sixers. And we're happy to have the Sixers experience starting Monday morning. You'll have a chance to sit with Tom and down on the floor for a little meet and greet and some pictures. Should be a really cool promotion. And, Tom, we appreciate you guys being a part of it.
No problem, Mike. Glad to do it. Talk to you on the radio.